99 people unaccounted for, crews working around the clock. Let's join that news conference in progress.
By our FEMA representative, who can tell you more. And that is going to assist us in our recovery efforts, as well to assist the families. We have the resources for the families at the Family Reunification Center. We've been actively providing them everything that they need: food, shelter, cash to assist with their basic needs, and grief counseling. Obviously a very critical component as we move forward, as people are anxiously waiting for news of their loved ones. At this time, we have received all of the donations of goods and volunteers that we can handle at this time. We're very, very grateful for everyone who has contributed, and we will let people know as the need presents. But we do have 2 funding sites available for cash donations: Support Surfside.org and Chesed, CHESED, 2 sites that are receiving donations. So as we work tirelessly and stand united, local, municipal, county, state, and now federal support, we are going to work as hard as we can to continue our search and rescue effort. That is our priority. That is where we're focused, and protecting our first responders who are on the scene. So thank you, everyone. God bless. Y ahora en español puedo decir que desafortunadamente esta noche fue muy difícil. Pudimos decir que tenemos 4 que han desaparecido, 4 personas que se murieron. Pero tenemos también noticias de 120 personas que ya podemos contar que son.
We've been listening to the mayor of Miami, Danielle Levine Cava, give an update, and just before we came on the air, she announced that 159 people are still unaccounted for. She's giving that same update in Spanish now, and I want to bring in NBC's Carrie Sanders, who's been listening along with us this morning. We also have the misfortune of having to announce that there are now 4 who have passed away in this tragedy. The one who initially was announced yesterday, but just 3, the Miami officials to say that have been pulled from the rubble overnight, Carrie.
There was a state senator who was at the scene last night who said that he saw, Savannah, them taking the body bags out of the rubble. And I think the greatest fear here is, as time goes by, that this death toll will rise. The real challenge, of course, is trying to get into the concrete and underneath, approaching from the garage area underneath the building to get into those areas. The hopeful news, of course, is that the authorities say they have heard some tapping, which indicates it may be somebody there or more than one person there. But when we think about the number of families that have gathered here that do not know each other, all waiting for news, and we know that there's 159 unaccounted for, the anxiety just grows with every minute of, will they find somebody else alive, and will it be perhaps their loved one? When we say unaccounted for, it's important to say unaccounted, not missing, because this is not a hotel. They don't have a list of everybody. Some people may be out of town. Some people may have had empty apartments or had other people staying in their condos, so they're trying to sort all that out. But just based on the number of friends and family who have gathered here at an evacuation center waiting to get some news, we know that there are a large number of people who are still unaccounted for. Savannah?
Yes, it's 159 people unaccounted for, but you do make a good point. This was a seasonal building, condos not always fully occupied, so we want to keep that in mind, keep hope alive. And also, the news conference announced that the number of people who are accounted for went up to 120, so that is a good piece of news. We continue to keep our eye on this news conference. Let's join and listen in.
Firefighters through this operation. As you saw, that we did have the fire reignite, but it did not slow down our search and rescue operations. However, during our search and rescue operations, we did encounter 3 victims that were deceased. They were removed, and as she had mentioned, we bring the total to 4 fatalities. Again, search and rescue operations still continue. We have heavy machinery on scene to start pulling some of the superficial metal from above as we start looking for additional voids from above. Again, search and rescue still continues from below as we tunnel, utilizing heavy light machinery. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. To provide Spanish, we're going to have Public Information Officer Erica Benitez from Miami-Dade Fire.
Buenos días. Hoy nuestras operaciones de búsqueda y rescate continúan. Nosotros tenemos equipo adicional trabajando en esta operación.
All right, so we are seeing this bilingual news conference unfold. I want to bring Carrie Sanders back in. We just got an update from a fire official who confirmed what we were just talking about, Carrie, that there are now, there were 3 additional bodies pulled from that rubble overnight, bringing the death toll to 4. If you're just joining us, 159 people still unaccounted for. And Carrie, you've been there, I mean, since the wee hours yesterday morning when this happened. It is painstaking work and dangerous work that these heroic first responders are undergoing right now.
When I spoke to Assistant Chief Raid Jadala, he explained to me that not only do they have now working shifts, so remember, this is going around the clock. We have multiple firefighters, I think the number was like 130 or something like that, that are working in these shifts trying to make their way. They have to also remember that there's a portion of the building that is standing, and so any piece of concrete that is moved could cause that building to collapse. I mean, to use a reference that people might know, it's like Jenga. If you pull something out, will it still stand? And so they have to be very careful, because the last thing they want to do is cause what remains to be up from coming down. But they're working around the clock.
Let me pause you.
I think the most important thing is...
Carrie, let me pause you there. I want to go back to the news conference. Sorry for the interruption.
Estamos rezando por las víctimas. Hemos perdido 4 personas que han fallecido. Nuestros detectives están trabajando para identificar a las víctimas y también avisar a la familia. Estamos manteniendo la área restricta porque tenemos equipo aquí muy fuerte. So vamos a seguir trabajando y ayudando el Fire Rescue. Gracias.
Thank you, Director. We're going to have Kevin Guthrie. He represents the Florida Division of Emergency Management.
Morning, everyone. Kevin Guthrie, Director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management. Overnight, we had a mutual aid request go in that is being handled by the State Fire Marshal's Office for additional urban search and rescue teams. I know that Florida Task Force 2, which is out of the city of Miami, is going to be the first to help rotate in to help Miami-Dade Fire Rescue here at the site. We have put the additional search and rescue teams throughout the state. There's a total of 8 teams throughout the state, so that's an additional 6 teams have been put on standby to rotate in as needed at the request of Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. So that has happened. At 12:26 this morning, you heard the mayor refer to it. At 12:26 a.m. this morning, I received the emergency declaration from FEMA, and that has happened. That is going to turn on what is referred to as Category A, debris removal, Category B, emergency protective measures, and individual assistance for FEMA reimbursement. We will be providing throughout the day additional details as more FEMA staff roll in on the individual assistance piece, but I think that we should set the expectation now that that will be limited to addresses at 8777 Collins Road. So please just know that that is coming. As I said, FEMA is on the way. The first individual came in about 3 a.m. this morning. That is our state regional coordinator, Paul Williams. He is going to be followed by about 15 additional personnel from FEMA throughout the day. And then we also have additional staff from the Florida Division of Emergency Management coming in throughout the day as well today. I'd be remiss if I didn't say the entire team that works in Tallahassee is activated. The men and women there are ready to support as needed. And again, you know, as we've always said at these disasters, FEMA helps federally support a disaster. The state helps manage the disaster, but everything is executed at the local level. So again, federally supported, state managed, locally executed, and that's what we are teaming up here with Miami-Dade County to make sure that that happens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Guthrie. And next speaker, we're going to have Mr. Ryan Logan give important information regarding the Red Cross.
Good morning. I'm Ryan Logan. I'm the Regional Disaster Officer for the American Red Cross here in South Florida. And we, like these other organizations, were on scene in the early hours of yesterday morning, beginning to provide whatever support we could to those that have been displaced. Yesterday morning, we worked with both the city of Surfside as well as the Miami-Dade County to begin to support the opening and the operation of the reception center and the family reunification center. As well as we have mobilized additional resources, supplies, and most importantly, some of our trained mental health, and spiritual care workers are coming in here locally, but we're also bringing in trained experts that have really dealt with this type of situation from across the country, because we really want to make sure that we're truly providing the necessary support for not only just those that have been directly and indirectly impacted, but the community at large. We also have been working with the families that have been displaced to try to secure temporary lodging for them. And we've begun the casework process to really start them to think about just some of the basic next steps that they may need to take moving forward. In addition to that, we know that everybody really wants to help during these times, and that's what makes us the country that we are. But for the Red Cross, we would just say that we have the necessary supplies and financial assistance that we need to support these organizations. So we would just encourage that anybody wanted to make any other donation, we had reference to the groups that the mayor referenced to funnel their resources there. And then most importantly, I think it's important that folks know that this is a difficult time for everybody, whether you're here locally or you're seeing these images 3,000 miles away. So one of the things that we really encourage folks is really take time for yourself. Go to our website, redcross.org. We've got a ton of information there just on how folks can really help to manage their own coping with this, as well as just how to have the conversations with children that may be seeing these images, asking a lot of questions. And then we also will be bringing that same level of community support here so that we can actually also focus on the community resilience as we move forward. Thanks.
We're going to break into the questions and answer session. I ask you to please raise your hand once you're called upon, and then just identify who it is the question is referred to, and then we'll move one at a time. We'll try to get to everyone as much as possible.
Mayor, if we can. First, thank you for briefing us. This is still a search and rescue operation. Have you seen anything that leads you to believe there are still people alive there?
We will continue search and rescue because we still have hope that we will find people alive. That is exactly why we're continuing, and that is why we're using our dogs and our sonar and our cameras, everything possible to seek places where there may still be people to be found. What kind of a hold? No, I can't confirm that. They're actively involved in search and rescue from both below and from above at this time.
Chief Jadal, can you please talk about the tactics that your teams are using? You mentioned sort of going from above with some artificial metal or something, and also below, just to take us through what's happening.
So throughout the night, no different than from when we began operations. So as the heavy machinery comes in, we will begin removing some of the debris from above, some of the light debris. As we place those devices to look for voids, we start looking for additional victims. We are listening for sounds. It's not specifically, human sounds. It could be, tapping. It could be steel, kind of twisting. It could be some of the debris kind of raining down. So we concentrate in those areas. From below, we continue with using light machinery, saws, jackhammers as we continue to tunnel through underneath.
Just to pick up on that, sir, we've heard rumors that there has been some tapping that has been picked up. Is that correct?
It's not necessarily tapping. It's just sounds. And what I reference to sounds, it could be various things. It could be just steel twisting. It could be debris raining down, but not specifically sounds of tapping or sounds of a human voice.
Are there a lot of voids?
Channel 4.
Yeah, I just want to confirm, Chief, if you can talk a little bit more about those sounds that maybe your crews are listening for, and are they hearing, and follow up as well. Do you still believe that there are people trapped alive under that rubble?
We, as the mayor had said, we have hope, and every time that we hear sound,
We've been listening
concentrate in that
into
area.
a
So we send
briefing
additional
from
teams
officials
utilizing
in
devices,
Miami, updating the
utilizing,
community on the
utilizing
efforts
personnel.
underway there,
So
a
as
desperate
we
search and
continue to
rescue
hear those
effort
sounds, we
to
concentrate
look
in those
for
areas.
potentially up to 159 people still unaccounted for. That was the piece of news to come out of this news conference. They are searching from below, searching from above, using every available technology, but many families are outside that building in nearby community centers waiting for word of loved ones who have not been heard of since that 1:30 a.m. Collapse of the building 2 nights ago. We will continue to follow this. We'll have the latest throughout the morning on the Today Show, MSNBC, and NBC News Now. I'm Savannah Guthrie in New York. This has been an NBC News special report.